Everyone used to think that they were the only ones who grew up playing the original 3 Lego Star Wars games. They all got to be hipsters for a little bit and started bragging about their childhood tastes, that their parents probably had more control over than they did. The meme format arose of only real OGs remember the Lego games. And then it wasn't long before we all realized pretty much everybody was a real OG, so it's not unique to like Lego games today. But before 2004-ish, Lego was still making a variety of computer programs, from world builders to adventure games to racing games that many people, myself included, do consider underrated classics in their own right. The real beginnings of Lego video game success started long before the licensed movie games era, with right around like 20 early 3D charming little titles for the PC, titles that many of the people who grew up on the complete saga have never even heard of, but if you recognize this startup animation, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Listen guys, only the real OGs remember this. Starting with the first in chronological order, this classic origin of all things Lego video games is said by many to be the GTA of 1997, and possibly one of the only first-person 3D games that was not horrifying for kids to play, maybe just ever so slightly. This is Lego Island, a staple in my childhood, but actually not one of the games I played the most as a kid, seeing as it is essentially a glorified placemat activity page that you would get from like Pizza Hut. One of the original first-person action games on PC. You play as 5 different characters, kind of go through a story. It's pretty much the rise and fall of the Brickster, who was a convicted mass murderer, sentenced to death for his crimes on Lego Island, and this is kind of the story of his escape and then eventual recapture. And you can complete that whole story in about an hour, but it's quite an epic tale.
If you think the family's ready for a plate of good spaghetti.
I hope she make good spaghetti. I feel like I would not be allowed to listen to this if I weren't Italian.
I think I'll go listen to the jukebox and eat about 10 more of these.
Dang, he just died of wanting pizza, which is actually a frequent thing nowadays.
I heard that you can fly a helicopter around the island now. You should try it. Helicopters are a lot of fun.
Hey, go.
My man's really likes helicopters.
Well, wait, I just ordered in. Oh, no, order in the course. You're under arrest. Oh, it's still you. Hey, why don't you make yourself useful and build a helicopter? Snap to it. At ease.
Do you think this was the game that gave the world ADHD? Oh. We got the drop in a dookie sound. And that's just what it sounded like when you step on rubber in the 90s.
What are you in for? Oh, you're not in. I'm in. For breaking and entering. I hear they're gonna give me the chair. And maybe even a lovely matching table.
I mean, in fairness, if there's only one criminal in the whole town, executing him might be the best way to prevent, like, all crime for the rest of eternity. There's just something creepy about these old 90 games. Just the textures, the quality of them. Even the textures themselves are worried. Look how scared this one is, shaking in his boots.
Oh my goodness gracious.
This is surprisingly accurate of living in a small town.
The Brickster has escaped. I repeat, the Brickster has escaped.
You don't seem like you're in such a bad mood about it. Oh, this has to be like Led Zeppelin or something.
Hey, Pepper, did you order the brick?
I wish I could just walk straight. It's a skill unbeknownst to Lego people.
Get to the police station and build our helicopter. I'll meet you there.
I've done 2 things this game so far. Delivered pizza 5 times and built a helicopter. And now I'm gonna build a helicopter again.
Looks like you're having a quick and good time.
Not really. Controls like doo-doo. I'm out of pizza. Someone just got hit by a car. Well, he's just stopped, guys. We can probably get him. He's stuck on a donut. Tase him.
The Brickster is caught.
Shoot him. Just throw him in the lake. Tie cement to his legs.
You and me, we did it. We kept it together.
What? Me, Pepper? Your hairline is very bad for a 10-year-old. Alright, I'm gonna consider that I beat the whole game. Only took about an hour. In conclusion, future me will think of a conclusion. The main fun of this game is really just like the characters' voice lines, like quirky clickables, like just the whole Lego world and aesthetic. I mean, the humor and charm really did kind of cement Lego video games as something that made sense, and it wasn't that scary for a first-person game from the 90s. A lot of respect for this game, starting off with a bit of a bang. This is gonna be a solid B tier.
B.
Honestly, if we were just basing it off the gameplay alone, maybe D, maybe lower. Let's be honest, the controls are really quite perturbious, as those who know correct grammar would say. From 1989, we have Lego Loco, the second Lego video game for PC. Honestly, not really a video game, more of a simulated world that you can build and play in. It really boils down to, if you want to play with a Lego train set and a Lego town and a Lego road system and all that stuff and kind of set it up, organize it, name people, set up scenarios and whatnot, but not actually go out of your way to buy the real thing, then this would be a pretty good alternative for you for the time. It's essentially the same thing as like replacing hiking or fishing with a video game version where you're using a keyboard and mouse. So, you know, it's just as fun as the real thing. You just have to set your own goals and enjoy the atmosphere, and for the time there might have been a bit of atmosphere, and you know, nowadays the atmosphere is old nostalgic video games, but at the time maybe it felt like you were really playing with Legos. That's a lie, I don't think it felt like that. And you know, it's kind of fun trying to manage traffic and railways and some of the villagers and stuff, but there's just not that much goal there. To be honest, what my strategy was just setting up railways that crashed and then crashing vehicles into each other. I thought it was quite fun. Really not for me. It's not gonna replace your Sim Cities, it's not gonna replace your... Well, they just had SimCity around this time. Gets a solid second place, I guess, in terms of city builders. But I'm a very objective-based person, and without one, I really didn't enjoy this and thought it was lacking a lot of depth for not only what it is, but also the time period it came out. Like, I hit my knee. Lego Chess, also from 1998. I mean, you know what Lego is, you know what chess is. You know that Windows 98 had no chance of innovating either of those things.
It's chess.
Took me an hour and a half to get it running and about 10 minutes to experience all that it had to offer. You get some nice little animations and a quirky atmosphere, different themes, but if you're actually wanting to sit down and play chess, you will get annoyed very quickly and just want to skip all of them. So this doesn't really have much to offer you. Could maybe teach you how to play if you're young and you don't know how to play chess. This might be a fair entry point, or at least a way to get you mildly interested enough, and it does explain the moves to you, how each piece works. But it's chess, and there's too many animations for it to go in C. C tier is reserved specifically for games without too many animations to the level that they would not be put in C tier. That's specifically the criteria for C. Too many animations, can't go in C. That's why it's called C. You know what they say, cutscenes can't beans. What's next? Lego Creator from 1998 once again. Continuing the trend of just making a computer program to play with Legos virtually, Lego Creator is actually pretty complex for the time period. You have a full 3D engine, you can build individual Lego brick pieces, build towns, build vehicles, has real-time physics to it. You get access to a massive plethora of Lego pieces and sets that you can just place down at your own will. It's a little bit complicated for kids. I could see where if you're pretty familiar with computers, which people weren't at the time, you could have some good fun with this. The controls, like with the camera, are a little bit perplexing and what's another big word? Discombobulating, atmospherical, that's a big one. It's not a bad studio to mess with, especially in the 90s, late 90s. Now it doesn't have an overabundance of cutscenes, so I am allowed to put this in C, and since it is Lego Creator, I'm actually obligated to put it in C tier. I would definitely rather play it than these two. Much better simulator than this game, but doesn't have the Bricksters, so right in between those I think is a pretty good place to put it. Lego Friends from 1999. Based after the popular sitcom of the same name from the 90s, Lego Friends does not contain Legos, and so maybe it should have just been called Friends. And for that matter, I don't know any of them. They're not my friends, so shouldn't have called it anything with friends either. Probably should have just called it.
See, my favorite thing about Legos is that I can play them no matter what, even though I am a boy. Aww. Well, at least my other favorite thing about Legos is that maybe because how they look. I like how the characters look. They look like Lego guys. I really like them how they are. And mostly just how they look specifically like Lego people.
Hello, welcome to Lego Friends.
Aw, man.
You should visit Anita's basement and go over to my bedroom where we have a secret scrapbook.
Anita's basement? More like I need a barf bucket right about now. Why you look so worried about being alive in general? Password? Don't tell my IT instructors. My friends. What? I only get one? I got a dog, I guess. Nothing is Lego. What about this is Lego at all?
There's a serious lack of milkshakes around here. You pay and we'll supply the straws.
Are you a 30-year-old? I can't dial, and if I could, it'd only be 1 through 7, but whatever.
I've got writer's block. Aha, then you need Boy Genius.
Oh, they even got young Sheldon. I like that. Putting in a lot of thought here, to be honest, to BH. I love Lego video games, by the way. Oh. I literally didn't try to do that. It was just like instinct or muscle memory or something. I don't know. Probably for my own good.
It's point-and-clicky activity games that are maybe not for adults and definitely not for boys. Don't tell Steve Lego that I played this one because I'm not a girl.
D.
Maybe it's alright for kids. Lego Racers, also from 1999. I actually covered this one in a previous video and was not aware of it before I did. But it's a pretty quirky, fun, like Mario Kart style racing game. It doesn't control very well, it's kind of stiff. To be honest, not one of the better racing games of the time. I think as I've played it more for this video, that my ranking I put it at before does still reflect my views and those of my sponsors. Did still crash a lot. That's kind of a me problem. Well, it's kind of a 90s problem, 1999 problem, which I was born in the 90s, so comes all the way back around. It's a me problem again. I don't remember what I put it at before, but I'd much rather play this game than almost all of these on this list. More than Lego Creator because it's an actual video game, just to a very slight extent. So
C.
We are making an exception for the fact that Lego Racers is not called Lego Cracers, but it still gets to go in C tier with Lego Creator. Quite fond of that joke. I better drink this just because I have it on set. People will make fun of me if I don't. Lego Rock Raiders from 1999. It's interesting to see a competent, well-established company like Lego try every single genre in the book as they enter into this new medium. It's kind of like a YouTuber who doesn't really know what they want to do quite yet, and so they're trying out commentary and gameplay and reviews and ASMR and all that stuff. And until they eventually hit their stride, they get lucky with one particular video and they kind of stick with that genre for a while. This is Lego's attempt at a real-time, mining-themed strategy game, where you're controlling different units to go mine, clean, collect. This game sticks with Lego's pretty good standings of create a game that might be a little complicated for kids, but really give it a presentation, a UI, a control scheme that allows a younger audience to maybe learn a type of strategy game, and make it so that it's accessible to adults too. Now it does have quite a bit of automatic units controlling themselves sort of a thing. You don't have to micromanage every little thing, which is good for the normie side. Someone like me who would have played it as a kid probably would have had a lot more fun with it because of that. But if you're more of a control freak, you might have a bit of a fit with the fact that you can't decide every little intricacy. This is like a first glimpse at Lego really kind of hitting their stride with presentation and leaning into what they're good for. And I could see it being a great deal of fun as a kid, especially if you're one of those people like me who didn't have the most powerful PC. Maybe you couldn't run the illustrious Lego Friends. This is a little bit less demanding, but still a very fun game that I could have seen myself getting really into back in the day. Speaking of UI and making complicated things kind of understandable to a younger audience, Legoland, we're finally here from 2000. This is where they finally got it down. They're like, all right, we understand how to explain games well, how to make good UI, how to make presentation that's bubbly and exciting and entertaining, and stick to kind of a core gameplay that might normally be more complicated, but simplifying it enough so that even kids can get into it. And even as an adult, replaying it recently, I actually found it to be just as intriguing and as exciting as I remember. Love the music, love the presentation. A very youth-friendly approach to theme park builders and real-time strategy games. It's also my personal Windows XP sweetheart. I played this game more than almost any other computer game as a kid, and that includes Cabela's Big Game Hunt from 1998, which here's some gameplay from. While some of the past LEGO games felt like they were feeling around in the dark without really a clear objective behind each program, this one acts like a full, pointed production. Build a park with an emphasis on variety and layout while squeezing in each stage's objectives and see the cash roll in. The gameplay is enough to keep you happy, but as a kid I was driven to beat it over and over and over again just to see the quirky cutscenes between each stage. Having animated cutscenes, nice CGI with a quirky sense of humor was really driving as a kid to want to progress in a game, which I think is why Lego Star Wars and that era of Lego games really took off when it did. I, as a kid, was driven to continue so that I got to see like a little cartoon episode in a sense. I spent 6 hours and 7 different operating systems to get this working. When I finally jumped back into it again after maybe 16 years, I felt it was 100% worth the effort. Absolute classic in my book. 100% deserved A tier.
A.
Legoland, more like Lego, landed in my heart. Lego Preschool, my style. Lego My Style Preschool. Because every child has a unique learning style. That's what this says. Can't read it because it's really low poly. I spent hours trying to get this to work.
Don't click on me.
The monkey is
click
funny.
on. Don't. Hey!
Oh, I don't like the monkey anymore.
You know what? I'll be back when you try a different color.
Hey,
Hurry up, monkey, away!
you're not. I'll be back when you're not such a stupid rock for brains looking pant eater. I don't want to do this anymore.
Well, you did it. What can I say except take this magic brick? Hey, try and paint all that.
No, I'm good. I'm just gonna take the brick, its pogo stick, and paste it. You just click on all that stuff and it's pretty fun.
You can't spell dog without the D.
I'm gonna poop and I'm gonna pee. Why do I just get profane when I play kids games?
Click on me. Click on me.
Buddy, I don't know, bro. What do you want?
Well, as long as we are both here, perhaps we should play a game. Click.
Strong disagree. Kill that, please. Thank you. If you liked that, you'll love this. Oh, I forgot you're stupid. Why am I complaining? This is perfect. I don't know how to play this game.
Click on your
No,
name.
why did I
Start
even
the game.
why did I try? Why? I was 2 seconds away from just everyone was gonna give me a pass. My name.
I'm Matty Maddox, and you won't believe all the cool stuff you can do with numbers and counting.
I would bet I will believe it.
Hi, I'm Jimmy, your ball-kicking sports
Oh,
playing
don't,
cat.
Jimmy, please, no. Jimmy, that hurts people.
What kind of animal is that?
Sounds like pre-exposed flatulence.
Hey, listen up.
No, hey,
I'm gonna play.
you listen up, buddy. Whiz. Trying to get these games to run taught me more in a single, like, day-long period than these entire games could teach your entire child over the course of several weeks and or months. And so what I suggest is you get these for your kids and you give them a Windows XP computer or a Windows 98 computer and just try to tell them to get these to work. Because if they can, by the time they get to play the game, they will have learned more than they could ever learn with these programs. Granted, I don't think they're bad. Like, they're great for kindergarten. Stupid word. And this one has Diplo characters, despite it being Lego. I don't know why they tried to do that. Super controversial at the time. I remember Marky Mark speaking out about that in his raps. Great for kids, but guess what? I'm not kids, I'm just one kid. Am I ages 4 to 6? If you're mad, you can be ages smell my butt. Lego Alpha Team. This is Lego's twist on the fun, simple gameplay of character goes forward and you can choose when they turn by putting down turn squares. I forget what that's called. There's an original version of this type of gameplay where it's just automated and you put in the turns ahead of time and you hit play and you see where the character ends up going. I don't remember what the original one's called. This is Lego's version. It's fun, but they didn't invent it. It does have a lot more visual flair and interesting cutscenes and animations than any game of this gameplay deserves. But it controls really annoyingly. The camera is just a puzzle in and of itself. So you're trying to solve 2 puzzles at the same time, essentially. And if you're actually playing the game for the gameplay itself, and you're not a kid who wants to be entertained by bright colors, then the fact that you have to sit through what is essentially a 2-minute cutscene animation every single time you want to see the guy go through the puzzle could get a little bit annoying. But I enjoy this type of gameplay. I can appreciate the graphics. I'd say it is ever so slightly more engaging than Lego Chess.
D.
I'd say that is fine. I agree with my decision. Well, thank you, Peter. Well, I think you're quite right about a lot of things yourself. Lego Stunt Rally. This one's tiny because I covered this in a previous video as well. Didn't cut out a new panel for it. Now, when I played it in my racing video, I didn't actually get the PC version, the console version running. I just played the Game Boy version, I think it was, which was a top-down, like, RC car type game. And I thought to myself, well, they chose that because they're restricted by the Game Boy's hardware. You can only do so many types of racing games on the Game Boy, and graphically you're held back quite a bit. So I thought the console version would be quite different. It was not. They just really chose this inferior top-down static camera style of gameplay, this completely inferior style of making a racing game. I don't even think there's stunts. Now that I think about it, like there's a couple spots where you hit a jump or go through a loop. You don't do stunts. That's not a stunt. A stunt is like, what is a stunt? I don't know if I want to go down this road. People are going to get me on semantics. I don't perceive it as a stunt game. There's this weird auto steering, and it's just this gameplay style that's not fun. Like, you have one thing you can do in it, and that's turn and accelerate, and both of those things are guided so that you stay on track. It doesn't really make sense to me why people would particularly want to play this. It's just, there's nothing more to say about it. Nothing to call home about on your rotary telephone through dial-up internet that you have to wait until your brother's not using to play Flash games on his Windows on Internet Explorer 97. Sorry, my brain is warped from trying to get old games and operating systems to work for a week straight. And for this, what have they done? I would play it or Friends.
D.
I would play this or Friends. I would rather play these, but I would play this or Friends. If I was debating between one, I'd be debating between the other. Lego creator, Knights Kingdom. Because if having a general Lego creator wasn't enough, they wanted to narrow it down to just Knights-related Legos. That being said, this is actually a pretty big step up from the last one. So it's got a much more bubbly UI, much more accessible control scheme, and continuing the fashion of Lego making a complicated game much easier for kids, it actually has like full cutscenes and essentially a story, quote unquote, that you play through for the tutorial, where it's explained step by step how to use every individual tool, how to place, rotate, up and down, every single piece that you can do. And there's still quite a bit to do here. I found it to be quite fun. It does have the slight issue where even though the tutorial makes it a lot more accessible to a younger audience, it also feels a little bit like Pokemon Snap 2022, where you can never quite tell when you're out of the tutorial phase and can actually do what you want, or if randomly the dude's gonna pop up again and be like, "Post hathest mine, sire, squire, findeth thine finest Lego brickolicus, and rotateth, post haste." Better than this one for sure. I'll put it a step above. Still not really much of a video game, as much as it is a program. Like, I don't know if Lego thought like, oh, our toys are gonna become obsolete and we need to switch everything to digital, but they put in a good attempt for that. See. And now we move on to 2001 with Lego Island 2: The Bricksters' Revenge. And if Legoland was my childhood, Lego Island 2 is my childhood's childhood. I mean that for real. For actually. I'm not the kind of person who can sit down and watch the same movie over and over year after year, or play through the same video game over and over, the same TV show or anything like that. And there are very few exceptions to that rule, this game being one of them. As a kid, I beat it tens of times. I guarantee once a year at least I would sit down and play this again. And 15 years later, looking at it now with an adult, with a critical lens, looking for the reasons of why it kept me playing so much, I can actually see why, unlike most of my childhood experiences where it's like, I don't know, I was a kid, I guess. It was either that or eat sand. But this actually makes sense to me. He's sitting on the floor. Are you eating dirt? Dude, that dynamic music switch up though, ahead of its time, man. What's up?
Yo, Pepper, would you look at these?
These nuts, that is.
Keeping busy, huh, Pepper?
Your breath stinks.
Pepper's pizza makes me dribble.
What the heck is wrong with you, bro? Mailman McGee.
Good day, Mr. Mail. Still.
Oh, I didn't know he was close like that. Man, you hate to be this guy. Like in this situation and just metaphorically in life.
Attention to detail is my middle name. Actually, it isn't.
Actually, it's domestic disturber. Holy moly, what are you doing? Okay.
Now, what rhymes with the bricks?
Well, I don't think I can say it on YouTube. You like my tricks, officer? Sure hope this is legal, or I'd be going straight to prison right now.
You got it, Papa, 'cause I'm the dude with the food, and I'm on my...
And I'm in the nude.
All I needed was one small chili for my patented Brickster Dragon Breath.
I'm not following you, Brickster.
You will in a minute.
We're gonna play Follow the Frickin' Leader.
See you later, Brickolator.
You didn't pay for your pizza.
And that's why we have to arrest him. He owes me $5.50. He's gonna steal the Bible.
The Constructopedia is mine.
The Constructopedia in your favorite pair of pants.
Yikes and cripes! Oh,
Don't, no,
Whoa.
demonetize!
Oh.
Stop! Y'all seen any Brickster bots? Officer, you're doing good work.
Excellent work, Pepper.
But, just so you know, bum! Those bubble effects were revolutionary at the time. I remember as a kid thinking, I didn't even think computers could figure out what bubbles were to put them in the video games. Also, look at the ambient occlusion on the ground. I have trekked from a faraway land, about 40 yards that direction.
Friend or foe of the lions?
Friend to all animals. The name is Pepper. I've come to ask for the...
The Dark Knight has never been defeated in a joust.
Christopher Nolan was very good at making it. This is very good joke, Peter. Good job.
Yadzooks. The young knight has a mighty arm.
Forsooth, Pepper. Well,
Forsooth.
valorous.
Just wait until I unlock the 5 Sooth. Things are different in the desert. There's a bit of a cultural shock, maybe if you've never kind of been there before, but it's a lot like this. Man, did I ever hate this mission as a kid. Too stressful. Mostly because it's like straight up animal abuse, and I don't think that's very cool.
Friend to all animals, you page.
I am Queen Lego TT, and I curse you to be crushed by a giant stone.
Your name's TT?
You hardly put a foot wrong there, Pepper. Maybe you should sort out my sock drawer for me. I guarantee no boulders.
Maybe a bit of poop, perhaps. Brings you to different worlds, themes, it's loaded with mini-games, in a constantly progressing story with an abundance of voiced, cleverly written cutscenes. It's got all the quirks of the original. On top of all that, it's just a free, do whatever you want, platforming, physics-based, ride a motorcycle, ride a skateboard kind of fun game that kept me hooked. I thought it was peak gaming when I was a kid. I thought this was as good as video games would ever get. And as an adult, I can understand why, although I do somewhat disagree. Well, obviously, because I've played Fortnite and Among Us, so I've seen the light. A few small nitpicks I would have is that, obviously, the camera was slightly clunky. Some of the physics are a little bit stiff and goofy and don't totally make sense. And sometimes there's a slight lack of instructions when it comes to how to progress the story, like where to go next. But overall, it is very fun, very freeing, very enjoyable, constant moving gameplay. And it's not just a run errands for people simulator without much character, like a certain threequel that we will talk about later. This is maybe my favorite childhood game. Maybe. At least for PC, I can guarantee that it was, and it's a clear S tier for me. Wow! Lego Racers 2, also from 2001. The sequel to... I can't remember what it was called. Anyway, this is a sequel. You can tell because there's the 2 there. Now, I actually did cover this game ever so briefly in my racing video as well, but this was one of the few that I couldn't get running. One of the like 5 that I didn't get to play out of the 130 something. This is a really, really enjoyable, like big step up. That one from this one. They all have this next to them, so I get a little confused. But this one here, big step up from the original Lego Racers, where that one was kind of just a Mario Kart clone with pretty lacking controls. This is actually more akin to the Lego Island games, where it's a full open world game with interesting, fun physics to play with. You get to completely build your own vehicle. I built the stick, which I'm quite proud of. It brought me very far. And you just ride around this island, completing tasks for people, entering races, sometimes doing sort of a crazy taxi, deliver and pick up people sort of thing, just running different racing-based tasks. And it's actually really enjoyable. It controls well, it plays well, it ran well when I actually got it running well. That's not to the game's credit, that's just, I'm pretty good at virtual machines now. I probably would have put this game pretty high on the racing game tier list. B or higher for sure, A or B. It's actually very, very fun, very decent. This one's going S tier. Wow! Oh, you almost saw my belly. Susan wouldn't have liked that.
Oh no, Susan's gone. New CEO would have liked that. Little Peter tummy. Okay. 2002, we have Soccer Mania, not Lego Soccer Mania. I made the mistake of thinking it was a Lego game. Also known as Football Mania in other countries. Cringe. I mean, it's Soccer McFootball with Lego guys. Pretty decent if you want to play a Lego arcade soccer game. I would have liked this game as a kid if I liked Legos and foot soccer ball. I did like one of those things. I'll just let you guys guess which one. I'll put it above this one.
C.
Lego Island Extreme Stunts. As somebody who loved the original Lego Island and Lego Island 2 as a kid, 2 being possibly one of my favorite games, this game here was always a big mystery to me because I knew it existed, but everyone I knew who had it, and even those who I heard of on the internet, just never spoke that much of it whatsoever. So this was always a big mystery to me, and after all this time, I finally kinda understand why nobody ever talked about this one. First of all, the premise of the gameplay with this one is more of an open world, vehicle-based errand runner. You don't go on some massive adventure to different worlds like in the second one, and you don't build vehicles like in the first one. You're stuck on one kind of blandly designed island until the very end of the game. You just kind of run around and complete random missions. You play as Pepper, the main character of the other two, but he's more of a silent protagonist than a character, which kind of sucks. If you're like me and you liked him as an actual character, listen to me getting all nitpicky about Lego characters' development. Sure, the gameplay is improved, like the core run, jump, skateboard, but the island just isn't exciting enough to keep you interested. You do get some cool modern like vibe upgrades, so like there's a radio playing the whole time, plays different like Lego hits, and some of them are okay. It's not as good as the original with like the Mama Papa Briccolini kind of stuff. Like I pog out to that. That's on the hot tub playlist. And you get like a personal organizer to track your progress in the game. Super cool, telling you the times, aged very well. But it's almost like it's too free to feel like a full adventure with a plot and progression, and not free enough for you to have fun with the freedom you're given. Now, of course, it does have way better gameplay than this one. I'd rather play it than Rock Raiders.
B.
It just feels kind of empty. I would have been happy just knowing that 1 and 2 exist, honestly. Ignorance is bliss, and speaking of bliss, Lego Drome Racers. I didn't play this one. I don't know if it's bliss. And it's more of an honorable mention because I did try to get this to work. It thinks the disc isn't inserted. I didn't know how to fix it. I wasn't gonna get an actual Windows XP computer. I was emulating most of this legally. Oh no, I'm dropping it. Follow the law, kids. So we'll just see where it sticks. It does not stick. All right, we've come a long way. We're all the way in what, 2003 now. Finally getting to this strange anomaly of a game, Lego Bionicle. This game is much more like a Lego game aimed toward 15-year-olds instead of like 10-year-olds. And when you're that 10-year-old, you're stuck with games like Legoland, Lego Island 2, Lego Island 1, most of the rest of the stuff on this list, and you think, to be like the cool kids, right? And have Lego Bionicle, this darker, grittier, combat-based adventure game based on this really interesting lore with dark themes. Not really at all dark themes. But then once you get to that age and you become that 15-year-old kid, you don't realize that you had it way better with these ones and that this is really lacking in a lot of spaces. Nothing more ironic than that glitching out like that, and I'm running this on a Pentium processor.
And the great being sent us the Toa to defeat Makuta and banish darkness from Matanui.
Makuta lives?
You will not harm the Toa.
We just learned, what a coincidence, we just learned about those guys.
Let us travel back to our Wahi and deal with Makuta's dark threat once and for all.
I don't speak French. I thought I chose English. I'm dizzy now. This is just confusing. I mean, where's the Lego infomaniac telling me where I'm supposed to go next? Where's Pepper with the pizzas? Like, this isn't my Lego. See, what is this? What is this music like? Oh, ooh, ah, gee. Like, I'm sorry, but if it's not rock and roll and skateboarding, count me out. Did I die? Or did I transcend? I mean, that's the real question of life. Well, the question of death.
Akrana.
Of course. A Cronus True Image. Alright, this is kind of cool. No idea what's going on at the bottom of the screen there.
Okay, any day now. That was a game over screen? That was a whole episode of Star Trek. Okay, nice. I love that.
Do not fear. My Nuva power can overcome any obstacle.
What about world hunger, things like that, maybe? Terrorism. Around us! Around us! Modern video game reference, around us!
I defeated the Bionicle, but...
And within 1 second, I have knelt on the ground and began a dialogue.
It's just short, kind of clunky, hard to tell what's going on in the gameplay, and the gameplay changes every mission, so you don't even get to learn certain skills. They can beat the whole thing in about an hour. Kind of clunky and hard to play. If you like the Bionicle lore, you'll get something out of this. It adds to it, makes it kind of fun. If you want to play as a Bionicle character ever so briefly, this will provide you with some amount of joy. Honestly, gave me Spyro, Legend of Spyro flashbacks, which is not good for me. All I'm gonna say is it's a good thing that we got Lego Star Wars and that whole era rising up just after this game came out, so we didn't have to dwell on it too much. It's okay, I'll put it bottom of C.
C.
And that's all we got. And this has been a great trip down memory lane for me personally. It's not often that my videos are completely fueled by nostalgia, but I gotta say, something I noticed consistently with Lego that I think Lego Media did especially well in the late 90s and early 2000s is taking a concept, even just the concept of video games in general, and making them kind of accessible to a younger audience. Because keep in mind, during this time, 3D games on a PC, kind of a hard thing to play if you didn't know how to do them. Common computer skills in general was really an important thing to know back then, and Lego Media did a great job of taking any gameplay style and presenting it in a way and giving you tutorials in a sense that allowed adults and kids to be able to figure out what they're doing as long as they have just a little bit of patience. And it was also the first time that in this early 3D era of the Uncanny Valley, where games with real characters and real humans and animals looked pretty goofy, the tech just wasn't there yet. They had a style that could work during every single era. I never thought the presentation for these games lacked in any way. And I think that's why it resonated with so many people and had kind of this quirky, upbeat style that translated even beyond these games to the next year, where we had Lego Star Wars, Lego Indiana Jones eventually coming out, Lego Harry Potter, the rest of them. And it was very fun for me to go back, experience this nostalgia, and kind of share it with the internet. It satisfies me. This has been very satisfying for myself as an individual. In closing, I know some people complain nowadays that Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga, the newest one, actually had full-on voice acting, and people were like, oh, I like the grunts. I like when the characters are just like, This is the first Lego game, and it had full voice-acted cutscenes. When I was playing through Lego Star Wars, I was like, oh, I miss the voice acting. I wish it had voice-acted cutscenes. Oh, this new generation of video games, I tell you. I didn't think that at all. I was like 10. I was like, the Star Wars slice with the lightsaber.